Good morning, students. In the previous class, we have discussed and started the topic systematics, and classification. Today, we'll discuss the next topic, subtopic, which is nomenclature. So, nomenclature, what does it means? It means assigning a name to organisms. So, which means to assign certain names to the organisms. So, names are based on certain observable and morphological and distinct characteristics as well as the similarities with the already known organisms. So, the names that do we know of the organisms, they are based on certain observable, which we observe the different types of morphological and distinct features which may be showing similarities with the already known organisms. The common names in the local languages are called as vernacular names, but it is not possible to identify the organisms universally based on the vernacular names for the following reasons. So, we observe diverse types of living forms around us, and we know mostly by their common names in our daily day to day life. And these common names are called as vernacular names. But these vernacular names or common names, it is very much impossible to identify the organisms universally based on these names due to the following reasons. So what are those? The first point, the first reason behind the vernacular names change with the different languages. So in our day-to-day life, we observe China rose in English. We call it China rose in English, Jaswan in Marathi, Padmacharini in Sanskrit, Gudhul in Hindi. So just like so many more examples do we may observe, we may call, suppose, Amrud in Hindi, Medat in Bangla it is called by different name. In Udiya it may be called by different name. In Tamil it may be called by different names. So it would be creating confusion within us. So these vernacular names must be replaced by certain names or certain scientific names which would give them universal acceptance. A common name may include more than one type of organisms. So mostly we call in Titli in Hindi, it may be including moths also as well as butterflies also. So a common name would not give us a correct idea about the type of life forms do we are talking in the condition. Third, the common names may be misleading also. For example, jellyfish and starfish, do we call them in the as common names, but they are not fish at all. They belong to different categories. We have discussed in class 9 that jellyfish it belongs to the phylum Coelenterata, whereas starfish belongs to the phylum Echinodermata, and both of them are non-chordates. And we call them as fish, but they are not fish at all. So scientists, biologists have established procedures to assign a scientific name to each known organism. So the biologists, they have established certain procedures to assign the scientific name to each known organism. The scientific names are based on certain agreed principles and criteria which are acceptable all over the world. So the scientific names, whatever do we observe or hear, that they are based on certain agreed principles and the criteria which are based upon which they are acceptable all over the world. The scientific names ensure that only one name is given to an organism, and the description of that organism should help people of any part of the world to arrive at the same name. So, whenever we say the scientific name of any life form, that will ensure the description of that organism, and it will also help people of any part of the world to arrive at the same name, that which we are talking about, the concerned life form. Next is binomial nomenclature. It is made up of two words. Bi means two and nomen means name. So Carolus Linnaeus in the year 1758 introduced this system of naming organisms. In this method, every organism is given a scientific name which has two parts. The first is the name of the genus, that is generic name, and the second is the name of the species, that is a specific epithet. For example, we know that Magnifera indica is for the mango, whereas Homo sapiens is for human beings. In these two examples, Magnifera and Homo, this one the Magnifera, the first word, and the Homo, here also the first word of the scientific name, are generic names, while Indica and Sapiens, these are the next word followed by the generic name. In both the cases, Indica and Sapiens are the names of species belonging to Magnifera and Homo respectively. So, the first word within the binomial nomenclature, it indicates the genus, whereas the next word followed by it indicates the specific epithet of that particular organism. So we should first of all try to know what are the rules or principles of nomenclature. Scientific names are generally in Latin or derived from Latin, irrespective of their origin. So the scientific names, they are generally in Latin or derived from these Latin words, irrespective of their origin. The second point, the scientific names are written in italics or underlined. So you may have seen in your textbooks, whenever we observe or see that if they are printed in italics. Suppose you may see examples. For the seahorse, the scientific name is Hippocampus, and for this fish, that is Katla Katla. So both these names are printed in italics. You may observe more. For example, the scientific name for this organism is Salamandra, and for the frog is Rana tigrina. So these are also printed in italics. But whenever we write, it is always underlined. For example, in this case, we have discussed just now, the scientific name for mango is Magnifera indica. Both are underlined. Generic name is underlined separately and indica is also underlined separately. Just like for the case of human beings, scientific name is Homo sapiens. Homo is underlined separately, as well as sapiens is also underlined separately. For example, we know the scientific name of frog, which is Rana tigrina. This one is the genus and this one is the specific epithet. Just like for the rice, the scientific name is Oryza sativa. Oryza is the generic name, whereas sativa is the specific epithet. For the wheat, the scientific name is Triticum aestivum. This one is the generic name followed by the specific epithet. Just like for the rohu fish, It is Labiorohita. And for the honeybee, Apis indica. So in all the cases, we may observe that these scientific names, they are underlined. The first word is the generic name. It is underlined separately, and it is written in the first letter is written in the capital form, and whereas all letters they are in small forms, and whereas the other words they are the specific epithet, they are to be also underlined but separately. So the first word which denotes the name of the genus, that is generic name, and the second word denotes the specific epithet, that is the specific name. Fourth point, the generic name starts with a capital letter while the specific name starts with a small letter only. So just now we have seen within few examples that the generic name they are started in a capital letter, whereas the specific name which are started in a small letter only. Fifth point, the name of the author is written in an abbreviated form or full form after the specific epithet. For example, Magnifera indica Linn, that do we have written here, it indicates that this species was first described by Linnaeus. So the name of the author who has discovered it is written in abbreviated form after the specific epithet. Just in the case we can see here Magnifera indica Linn, which means this species was first described by Linnaeus. Sixth point, the date when the species name was published may also be added. For example, Homo sapiens, it was described first of all by Linnaeus in 1758. So this is also mentioned beside the generic name followed by specific name and then the author name and the year. Seventh point, when a scientific name is changed for some reason, the original author's name is given in parenthesis. So if scientific name is changed due to some certain reasons and the original author's name is given in the parenthesis. So these are the certain rules which we follow for nomenclature. Till so far here, thank you. Have a nice day. We'll discuss the next topic in the next class.